The mayor of Chicago says a migrant surge has his city at the breaking point, and he's pleading to Congress for help. Mayor Brandon Johnson is feeling the overwhelming weight of being a sanctuary city. CBN contributing correspondent Paul Petit shows us how area churches and ministries are helping pick up the slack.
More than 300,000 migrants crossed the U.S.-Mexico border in December, according to data from U.S. Customs and Border Protection. That's the highest monthly total since 2000, and now its effects are being felt here in Chicago, sending this sanctuary city in a scramble to keep up with the influx. Migrants and asylum seekers sit waiting for a hot breakfast and donated clothing at this church on Chicago's west side.
It is not unusual for them to get up at 3:30 in the morning to get on the L at 4 because it might be 2 hours for them to get here.
And at those hours in January, it's usually below freezing.
They'll arrive here wearing T-shirts and sandals, and we're in Chicago.
Area Catholic churches, many of them partnering with the city of Chicago, are working to keep up with the recent influx of migrants.
We've had upwards toward 300 people come on a given day.
The vast majority do come from Venezuela, but we also get people coming from Ecuador and from Colombia. They are also fleeing oppression. A lot of them are fleeing the drug cartels.
Saul is an attorney from Venezuela. He says his family left the country out of fear of the authoritarian government.
En Venezuela, soy abogado.
I am an attorney, and things were very difficult in Venezuela. I felt that me and my family were at risk of persecution.
In the last year and a half, over 26,000 migrants have arrived here. Saul says Chicago's sanctuary city status is the reason he came.
En su gran mayoría,
Sometimes they don't have a choice. They are just sent on a bus, and the bus is headed to a sanctuary city like Chicago.
Last month, Texas sent unannounced busloads of migrants, some even on a chartered jet to Illinois. The city then bused them to its migrant landing zone. These unexpected newcomers have Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson fuming at Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
The reckless and, quite frankly, the unsafe behavior of the governor of Texas has caused a great deal of trepidation.
But organizers and volunteers here say they have to set politics aside at a time like this.
I've been saying to people, this is not a political issue for us. These are people who are in need and in care, and we're answering the gospel message.
St. Edmunds began its ministry to help the nearby YMCA and Oak Park Police, which operates shelters for the migrants. Now it's an interdenominational effort.
It is the most beautiful interfaith effort. We have the Presbyterians, the Congregationalists, the Methodists.
And here on the northwest side of Chicago, City Line Bible Church is partnering with World Relief Chicagoland. Church leaders say many of their first arrivals have found jobs and moved into apartments. Some are now serving at the church. But a breaking point is on the horizon as more buses arrive from Texas. Mayor Johnson says his city and 27 shelters are near capacity. In November, Johnson opposed a 60-day limit for migrants to stay at those shelters. Today, many are near that limit.
Without significant intervention from the federal government, this mission will not be sustained.
In Chicago, Paul Petit, CBN News.
Thanks, Paul. Breaking point aside, Gordon, it is encouraging to see ministries put aside politics to respond to the humanitarian need.
Well, Christians always respond. Christians always respond in love. They always respond with help. They always want to help the stranger. We take these biblical commandments very seriously. But let's take a much bigger picture that when you give food to the poor, everybody congratulates you. Everybody says you're doing a great job. When you start asking the question, why do the poor not have any food? Well, then you get all kinds of political accusations at you. So let's start asking the fundamental problem. Why is there such a rush of migration to the United States? What is going on? And are we doing anything to solve that? The federal government, it's absolutely amazing to me, they're taking the state of Texas to court to stop them from enforcing the law that they themselves refuse to enforce. It's beyond insane. They've thrown a big, welcome home sign up on our southern border, and have encouraged refugees from all over the world to take an incredible journey, a life-threatening journey, in order to get here. I don't understand doing that. That shouldn't be. Now, as a country, what should we be doing to make the living conditions in their own country better? How they can find opportunity, employment, how can they do these things there? I understand in Venezuela with that government it's not going to happen, but what about in Mexico? What can we do there to help them and grow their economy? How can we be a force of good, a light to the nations, to let them know there's a much better way, and you can have a hope and you can have a future right where you are. If we start doing these things as a matter of public policy for the United States of America, we can solve this problem. But if we don't even attempt it, well, we're going to continue to see this. And on the political front, the immigration crisis is going to be a major political influence on our upcoming election.